Classroom, brought to you by Fortis Alberta. Okay, please join me in welcoming our poet. Oh, they gave me your full name, but I'm just going to say Ari Zach, if that's okay. Ari Zach's journey as a poet started years ago when she first took the stage at a local open mic event. Now, the art form has brought her to City Hall for a very official title, the City of St. Albert's newest Poet Laureate. The Poet Laureate role, which Zach will hold for the next one more year, positions her as a local cultural and literary ambassador. She'll read poetry at salient events and act as a torchbearer for the arts and the culture in our city. Please join me in welcoming Ari.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. So, I do have a piece today I wrote for this, and before I go into it, I wanted to have everyone think for a moment on a little question. What sets humans, all of us, apart from any other organism on here? My answer to that would be our ability to build, our ability to make something greater than ourselves and have that vision. And I'd like to keep that in mind as I do this piece. It's called Atomizing the Future, and it goes like this. When tomorrow comes, it won't sit divorced from those past days which bind it. That march of hands, ticking, talking, milliseconds apart, discordant, more or less in sync. My grandfather goes atomic in the living room, universal oscillations, feel it all, same as everyone, indivisible particles. Can't see us from the cosmos. We're all busy working, building, entertaining ourselves, thinking of problems of the future, ones we can solve as we create them. Progress, inevitable march onwards. I don't fear time's trajectory, but it can give me such awful thoughts. Sleep it all, blind myself to the passage, wake up after tosses, turns, tomorrow's here before I'm ready. This tomorrow, it comes into itself, inherits circumstances of yesterday, objective, unflinching, think next day in abstract. Looks a lot like today. We can't make something from nothing, even with our abstractions. It's all about it. Make new thoughts, progress with what we know. Think tomorrow brings new colors. It won't. Think tomorrow brings new chances, new ways to work together, spend our lives building something greater than ourselves. Bonobos don't build monuments. They don't wake up, put their lives to work, take pride in what they've built around them. There's a big picture. Humanity has been painting it since we first put handprints on stone walls. We all wake up. Work to make the world better than we left it. Hands tick on the clock, toil on the job sites, build legacy, builds continuity, invisible some days, particles, presence nonetheless. Work today, make tomorrow better.
Taller shoes. Okay, thank you very much. So now I would like to invite our keynote speaker to the stage, Mayor Cathy Heron. As the first female mayor in 20 years and only the second in the history of St. Albert, Cathy Heron embodies the values of our modern community. Serving her second term as mayor and through her leadership, St. Albert actively engages in environmental stewardship, responsible growth, and the rights of our First Nations and LGBTQ+ community through respectful engagement within our community. A graduate of both the University of Alberta and NAIT, Mayor Heron values diverse knowledge, education, and experience as pillars for decision making. In addition to her education, Mayor Heron has extensive experience in regional governance, including 2 terms as city councillor prior to her election as mayor in 2017. Mayor Heron understands the value of leading by example. She served as president of the Alberta Municipalities Association, board of directors for Alberta Recycling Management Association, 4 years as director of the Alberta Capital Regional Wastewater Commission, an active role in Capital Region Growth Plan Task Force, and many more. The result is extensive and diverse relationships throughout our region with elected, civil, and business stakeholders that collaborate with her for a strong and respectful city of St. Albert. With her partner, John, they have a vibrant blended family of 7 children from teen to adult ages and the much-loved family dogs, Uno and River. She loves the outdoors and weekends they can be found sailing in Wallaman or camping at any one of the beautiful campgrounds throughout Alberta.
So welcome. Hopefully I can entertain you over the next half hour. I know we just had a big meal and it's excessively hot in here, so please stay awake. Thank you, Angie, for the introduction. We work so well with the Chamber. We work so well that the Chamber puts a policy forward on grants in place of taxes, formerly called GPOT in the municipal world, and the provincial government has now reinstated them, so thank you to Dale for that. So, can you guys still hear me if I move that away? Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Today I stand before you with a very full heart, reflecting on an incredible journey we've taken together as a city. For 15 years, it has been my genuine honor to serve the residents of St. Albert as councillor and then mayor. And after much soul-searching and internal struggle, I need to let you know that I will not be seeking a 3rd term as your mayor. St. Albert has always been a place of vision, community, and progress. As I deliver my final state of the city, I'm proud to say the future is here. The foundation we have built through resilience, innovation, and collaboration have set the stage for a future that is not only bright, but already unfolding in front of us. St. Albert is a great place to work, shop, live, and play, and I want to share how we position our community for lasting success. Over the years, we have strengthened our local economy, ensuring more residents have opportunities to work right here in our city. In 2010, a significant percentage, about 59% of our workforce commuted into Edmonton. Today, that number has improved and shifted down to 43%, and more businesses are choosing to call St. Albert home. Edmonton. Employment within the city has grown. Our industrial lands have been strategically developed to support expansion. More of our residents are choosing to work, shop, and eat in our local economy. Our business community has flourished. Since I took office, we have grown in local enterprises, both large and small, each one contributing to the vibrancy of our economy. Since 2010, business licenses have jumped by an amazing 383%, while our population increased by only 17% over that same period. The absorption of industrial lands has ensured that St. Albert remains a competitive and desirable place for businesses to establish and grow. From 2010 to 19, we absorbed industrial land at a rate of about 8.2 acres per year. Yet during the next 2 years, we jumped up to 25.4 acres per year. The word is out, St. Albert is a great place for your business. In fact, 40% of today's industrial land wasn't here when I was elected as mayor. And Quadriel, which is just south of us, Quadriel's Anthony Hindi Business Park has been leading the way. Much of this success can be linked back to one vital infrastructure project, Ray-Given Drive. The unique funding partnership with the province was a huge win for myself and the council of the day. And of course, the residents of the region. Ray-Given Drive is not only fueling growth and creating jobs in St. Albert, it will also benefit the wider Edmonton metropolitan region. And of course, as just mentioned by Dora, our biggest accomplishment on this front is our aggressive stance the city has taken to develop Lakeview Business District. Over a decade in the making, spanning several councils, this 242-hectare light to medium industrial hub in West St. Albert is the future of our industrial growth. Lakeview will attract the kinds of business that shape tomorrow: advanced manufacturing, clean tech, logistics, transportation, and life sciences, right here in our backyard. I'm looking at the Edmonton local table. There won't be smokestacks towering overhead. Instead, we're creating a business environment that respects the land, enhances quality of life, where entrepreneurs and employees can step outside and walk through nature, where they can build careers and lives with thriving neighborhoods steps away. In January, Council took a very bold step and approved a $62.7 million investment for front-end servicing of Lakeview to accelerate this project. And we're not stopping there. Thank you. In April, Council also approved a development acceleration program to help bring early stage development to life. With up to $110,000 per acre in incentives and $8 million available, we're removing barriers and showing everyone that St. Albert is ready to welcome the future with open arms. Lakeview Business District is more than just a development, it's a game changer, one of the largest in the Edmonton region. An estimated 5,000 new jobs, up to $1.5 billion in private investment, and a diversified tax base that will strengthen St. Albert's long-term financial health. There is no longer any question, we are a business-friendly city. When we talk about economic growth, we cannot overlook the transformation of our retail sector. A decade ago, many residents traveled outside of our city for their major shopping needs. Today, we have brought world-class retail home to St. Albert. One of the most exhilarating parts of being a mayor is the new business ribbon cutting. I've attended as many as I can to share the excitement with that new owner. For me, one of the most thrilling was my very first, which was Landmark Theaters. For those of you who know me, you know that I very much love movies. On that particular evening, I was quite nervous. My first ribbon cutting. There are a few rules to these things. Be polite, don't stab anyone with the giant scissors, and give a speech. Damn, I did not have a speech. So John and I actually wrote my first ribbon cutting speech in the car as we drove to the theater. Nothing like being prepared. Landmark Theaters was a significant new business in North St. Albert. What followed was an amazing build-out of restaurants, shopping, and development. Just 8 years later, that area is bustling with activity enjoyed by so very many of our residents. The arrival of shops like Joe, Riverside Landing, Michael's, Vincent, Costco, and many more has not only boosted our local economy, but also strengthened our sense of community. Our city is now a shopping destination, offering residents convenience and choice while keeping our dollars right here. As we look to the future of retail, there is so much more just around the corner. We are excited to welcome a few that are on the screen now, and we have more announcements forthcoming. These successes don't happen by chance. They happen because we were proactive, forward-thinking, and committed to positioning St. Albert as a city of opportunity. We came into these roles with a goal, and I'm so very proud of my council and the city staff for not just reaching that goal, but knocking it out of the park. St. Albert has always been a community that people are proud to call home. But over the years, we recognized that for our city to remain truly welcoming, we needed to offer homes that fit every stage of life, every family, and every budget. In 2010, our housing landscape was predominantly single-family homes. We knew if we wanted to build a future where young professionals, growing families, and seniors could find a place here, we needed to make changes, and so we did. In 2017, the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Board's growth plan reinforced what we already recognized, that higher density isn't just a requirement, it's the key to agricultural land preservation and a sustainable, inclusive future. But density alone isn't enough. Affordability and compassion matter just as much. That's why we have supported projects like Habitat for Humanity and donated land on 22 St. Thomas Street to ensure that more families have a chance to build a life in St. Albert. Not in my notes, but thanks to Gail Nelly and our texting last night. I can not make a formal announcement today, but for 22 St. Thomas to proceed, we needed provincial funding. I can confidently say that announcement is coming very soon, and I want to thank Gail for allowing me to say that. Appreciate it. So we updated our land use bylaw to allow for back alleys, increased density, permitted taller buildings, because a great city isn't just about houses, it's about creating vibrant and safe and very well-connected communities. Today we see the results all around us. The Amacon development is bringing new energy to our downtown. Riverside and Shiro are reshaping the Wild New West. We also have exciting new mixed-use developments such as Botanica, Shop Super Joe, and Riverbank Landing, bringing highly walkable communities to St. Albert. And soon the East Village and Sidex Towers will add another chapter to this evolution. Our skyline will be redefined while maintaining the charm and character that makes St. Albert unique. When I talk about being a great place to live, we're not just talking about housing. This is about community. What makes St. Albert truly special is its inclusiveness. The Pride Crosswalk, our Indigenous relations initiatives, including the Every Child Matters Crosswalk, our inclusive hiring policies, our IDEA strategy, are all testaments to a city that values every resident. These initiatives have not only enriched our community, but ensured that St. Albert remains a city that welcomes all. I want to share a couple of memories that mean a lot to me. Shortly after the election in 2017, I wanted to paint the crosswalk in front of City Hall with the Pride flag. If anyone remembers the previous term, there was some questionable art on crosswalks and curbs that threw some of our residents into an angry frenzy. So needless to say, the topic of painted crosswalks was contentious. Shortly before that election, then Councillor Tim Osborne spearheaded the raising of the Pride flag. I was inspired by his leadership, and as a new mayor, I walked into the city manager's office and just asked, can we paint the crosswalk? With the help of Out Loud, in the spring of 2018, the community showed up in droves and boldly proclaimed our conviction that everyone is welcome in St. Albert. This has now become an annual event, and I wanted to say a big thank you to the staff of the city who volunteer their time to make this happen, and the local businesses that donate to the program, and to the residents who continue to value this simple symbol of inclusion. During the 2017 election, we were looking for a way to authentically connect with residents. That's where Coffee with Cathy was born, an open, unfiltered live chat with residents via Facebook Live. It was a huge success in the election, but one lady said to me in an unrelated event that she really hoped I would keep those going after the election. As a result of that offhanded comment, Coffee with Cathy became a great way for St. Albert residents to have access to their mayor and for me to connect with the residents. But it was during COVID that Coffee with Cathy really saved the day. I don't remember how many times I was live on Facebook, but it was a lot. We had a little video studio set up in our living room, and I was able to stay in touch with people. And I've heard from people, and I hope this is true, that simple act of being accessible meant a lot to many people who hungered for connection. COVID was a frightening time, an uncertain time, and I fully admit all levels of government were taking it day by day, maybe even hour by hour. But as I look back now, knowing what I know now, I marvel at the strength and elegance of our community. Yes, it was probably the single scariest time in our lives, but what I remember was the positive, unwavering dedication to our community. I cried when the firefighters stood a job by the hospital to show their support for frontline nurses. The respect from one group of selfless heroes to another was touching. Kids sent me drawings as a contest, just a small way to help them keep busy. And I got this idea from Mayor Stuart Houston's Bruce Grove. Giancarlo Marquet dressed up like the Easter Bunny and walked every single neighborhood waving to the kids who couldn't play. The costumes were donated by Carrie's Costume, a reminder that our businesses really are an important part of our community. People bought groceries for seniors or immunocompromised next-door neighbors who couldn't go out themselves. And someone was making cute snow creatures in the trails to entertain the kids, which continues today. And who remembers the Team Band Together posts and challenges? I remember walking the trails near my house and seeing that some kids had used chalk to write on the sidewalk. It was a sign of solidarity. I also remember posting COVID stats every day on my social media. How many were sick? How many have we lost? I was obsessed. I spent hours looking for the right image, meme, or quote to share with that day's update. I realized at that time that I was probably too fixated on those numbers, but when I stopped, several people messaged me, asked me to keep it going. It was important to them. That small action gave them some connection. We really came together as a community. I know we all wish COVID hadn't happened, but let me tell you, there was never a time I was more proud to be here. When we talk about growth, it's not just about numbers on a page, it's about people. Please don't tell me I can't cry. It's about the young couple buying their first condo, the senior downsizing but staying in the community they love, and the family who once thought home ownership was out of reach, but now has a place to call their own. We are not alone in thinking St. Albert is the best place to live. St. Albert has earned national recognition time and again, for good reason. In 2014, Money Sense magazine ranked our city as the top community in Canada. And in 2016, we topped their list again as the best small city. And more recently, the Globe and Mail named St. Albert one of the most livable cities in Canada, reaffirming what we've always known: this is a truly exceptional place to call home. That's the heart of St. Albert, the belief that everyone belongs, and by continuing to embrace smart, compassionate growth, we're building a future, well, that remains true. We've always understood that a great city is one that provides opportunities for recreation, education, and culture. Since 2010, we've added 5 new schools, rebuilt Volcane, and expanded Belarus, ensuring our children have access to top-tiered education close to home. Let's talk about fun, because if there's one thing St. Albert has invested in over the past 15 years, it's making sure our residents have a place to play, paddle, and pickle. That's right, I said pickle. Introduced in my first term by Councillor Len Bracco, met with very quizzical looks, it has now taken our city by storm. To meet the growing enthusiasm, St. Albert now boasts both public and private facilities catering to pickleball aficionados. One standout is Rays Athletics, a privately run, non-government funded sports complex that opened its doors in Riel Park. This impressive 170,000 square foot facility houses 22 individual fenced pickleball courts. They also have basketball, volleyball, badminton, and even a 12,000 square foot indoor soccer pitch. Add in a fitness center, physiotherapy clinic, virtual basketball training, and a restaurant, and you've got a sports lover's paradise under one roof, all privately funded. Of course, we haven't been busy with just the picklers. We've also made it easier for outdoor enthusiasts to hit the water by installing canoe launches on both ends of the Sturgeon River. Whether you're a seasoned paddler or someone who's just hoping not to tip over, these launches invite everyone to experience the beauty of our city from a whole new perspective. And speaking of nature, during my time on council, we partnered with Ducks Unlimited to create a beautiful boardwalk that winds through our wetlands. It's the perfect place for a peaceful walk, a little bird watching, or a moment to wonder why the ducks even bother to come north, but we always welcome them when they return. We have skating freeways, additions added to Lions Park and Rotary Park to make winter outdoor activities a gathering place for family and for community. Our parks have seen some exciting additions as well. Kingsmead Park in Kingswood is finally a thriving community space, with playground, trails, an ice surface, and even a sledding hill for those winter thrill seekers. But let me tell you, it took us years to make this happen. We actually had to initiate an expropriation of this land to turn it into the park it was meant to be. A special thank you to former Councillor Ray Watkins, because it was his creative thinking that brought Kingswood alive in this long-awaited space. And this Saturday, I'll officially unveil our newest fully accessible playground, an example of what can happen when a community dreams bigger. Lodgepole Playground was originally planned to be a traditional park, yet this space has been transformed into a fully accessible and inclusive playground because of the neighbors, and they asked for more. And then they rolled up their sleeves and made it happen. Inclusive parks aren't just about equipment, they're about dignity, community, and the simple joy of being together where every child can play, explore, and belong. We've also created space that nourishes the soul, like the Healing Garden, a place of reflection, remembrance, and reconciliation. It stands as a reminder of the importance of understanding and honoring the past while building a better future. As the former location of 2 residential schools, St. Albert carries a difficult and painful history. I always feel an extra and deep sense of responsibility, not only as mayor, but as a fellow human being, to acknowledge the harm done here. Residential schools are a dark stain on Canada's past, and their legacy continues to cause pain today. We must remember that children were taken from their families, stripped of their language and culture, and too often never made it home. As a city, we have committed ourselves to truth and reconciliation, not just in words, but in actions, that honor those survivors and families and the children that never return. We walk on lands that hold both beauty and sorrow, and it is our duty to listen, to learn, and to build a more inclusive future. One of the best ways to experience the beauty is the Red Willow Trail system. By the end of summer 2026, this extensive network will be completed on both sides of the Sturgeon River, allowing residents to walk, bike, or blade the entire length of our city on either side of the river. It will be a complete circuit that has been years in the making. I think Red Willow was 1980s was when we started this project. The city has been recognized as the tree city of the world 5 consecutive years, making St. Albert one of only 18 cities in all of Canada and one of only 200 cities globally to hold this recognition. Because trees are St. Albert's most valuable treasure. And speaking of the future, we're not done yet. The next big thing, a brand new community amenity site that will bring together aquatics, a gym and fitness center, an indoor ice sheet, pickleball and tennis courts, a spray park that transforms into a skating rink, and a bicycle park. In short, if you're looking for something to do in St. Albert, this future facility will have it all. Every dollar spent on recreation is an investment in community and wellness, and in a simple joy of getting outside, getting active, and getting connected with each other. St. Albert has always been a city that values quality of life, and these projects, past, present, and future, reflect that commitment. And a reminder that tomorrow night's hockey game will be broadcast once again on the big screen at Service Place. Go Oilers! So whether you're paddling, pickling, skating, sledding, or just soaking in the beauty of our parks, know that this city is built for you. And I, for one, can't wait to see what we create next. Through all this, my focus has always been on fostering strong relationships with council, across the region, and with our business community. Because leadership is about building partnerships that stand the test of time. I mentioned getting ideas from other mayors and communities about funding models for the province and opportunities that came our way. None of this could have happened without opening ourselves up to the wider world. I dedicated myself to the network of mayors and municipalities across Alberta and Canada. The dividends of those experiences and relationships have repaid St. Albert in spades. While today is a moment of my personal reflection, it's also an opportunity to look ahead. The next chapter of St. Albert's story is one of promise and of growth, a chapter that you, St. Albert residents, get to write. The groundwork has been laid for the future of our city. The 2021 annexation will provide space for new opportunities. We've developed infrastructure to responsibly manage future growth. Annexing land and building roads and sewers really isn't that sexy, but it is an important foundation so we and our children can continue to build a great community for decades into the future. As I prepare to step away from the mayor's office, I do so with immense confidence in the path we've charted. To the next generation of leaders, St. Albert is ready. The roadmap is quite clear, and the future is now. Serving as your mayor has been the greatest honor of my life. I've had the privilege of serving through periods of growth, through world-changing challenge, and through the transformation of St. Albert from a small town to a city of modern and respected mid-sized city. I'm grateful for every conversation, every partnership, and every moment spent working to make St. Albert the incredible place it is today. Before I close, I want to take a moment to grab something, to speak from the heart, because this journey was never mine alone. Seriously, I could have opened this for me. Public service is a calling, but it asks a lot from the people we love. And no one is given more to this community. I apologize. To my three children, William, Heather, and Holly. You guys were just in grade school when I was first elected. You grew up with a mom who was often at meetings, events, or responding to the needs of a city who never quite sleep. You had to give up time with me at the dinner table, at bedtime, and during big and small moments, because I was out serving the community. As you grew older, you not only had to share me, but you also had to shoulder the visibility that came with my role. You endured the scrutiny of the headlines and sometimes the weight of decisions I made that had absolutely nothing to do with you. But you still managed to, and these managed to affect your friendships and your lives in unexpected ways. It's not a small thing for teenagers, and yet through it all you showed strength, resilience, and grace beyond your years. Thank you for your patience, your love, and your understanding. Thank you for letting me be both your mom and your mirror, sometimes not the right way, but always with my whole heart. I'm endlessly proud of the people you've become, and I hope that in some small way, my service has shown you the value of giving back even when it's hard. John, thank you for standing beside me for such steadiness and support, especially when the weight of responsibility felt heavy. I've dragged you to countless events and galas, and you've always attended with a smile. Blending our families has been one of the greatest joys of my life, and to your four wonderful children, thank you for welcoming me and being part of this big, beautiful, often chaotic family that has kept me grounded and given me perspective. And finally, to my parents, since I was elected in 2010, you've stood quietly but powerfully beside me. Your encouragement, your belief in me, and the values you've instilled gave me the foundation to lead with integrity, compassion, and courage. Without your support, I truly could not have done this job to the best of my ability. Thank you for you always being there and cheering me on, whether from the front or the back row. To our residents, our businesses, my fellow leaders, thank you for believing in me, for trusting me, and walking this journey together. The work we have done will resonate for generations. To the city staff, I just can't say enough. You were the unsung heroes of this city. More than 600 hard-working employees push themselves daily to stand up a city that holds itself to the highest possible standard. I could give an entire speech on the amazing efforts of our city staff. And I need to have a quick mention to Melissa and Christina, my EA assistant. This is their Super Bowl, today's event. They spent hours tying little pitchers and sticks to honey jars, coming up with the table decorations, and I love you so much for what you do for this. And to my council colleagues, past and present, what a journey we have been on. We haven't always agreed, but I think we can all agree that we've been united in serving the city of St. Albert. I have to have a special mention to Councillor Wes Broadhead, who was elected with me in 2010, and has been by my side, my friend, supporter, and very much a mentor for 15 years. And while I'll be stepping away from the office, I'm not going far. This is still my city, my home, and my heart. Let's keep building something beautiful. The future is here, and it's brighter than ever. Thank you.